But right now, Courtney, who do you have with us in the studio?
We are joined by Elke Brandis. Elke is a local anti-nuclear activist, and she has recently moved to Atlanta from Freiburg, Germany, where she did similar work. And as some listeners might know, Germany is in the process of shutting down all of the nuclear reactors in their country. So we are excited to have her with us in the studio today to talk about what's going on locally with Stop Plant Vogtle and an action coming up this Friday in response to a nuclear propaganda documentary, Pandora's Promise, which is premiering at the Midtown Arts Theater. So Elke, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hello, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Elke, why don't you tell us a little bit about what this movie, Pandora's Promise, is about and why y'all will be protesting and giving counter-information to it?
The movie Pandora's Promise is a pro-nuclear documentary. It's called a documentary. It's by Robert Stone. And, well, basically it talks about that we need nuclear power to tackle climate change. The problem about the film is, I mean, a documentary should be kind of, it gives you an idea, but you should have different perspectives of the topic, and this is actually really missing in this documentary, in this film. It's the information that is given is biased, and it doesn't show different perspectives. It doesn't show any different ideas than just promoting nuclear power.
So is it saying that nuclear power can solve climate change?
Yes, I mean they're basically focusing on promoting the new types of nuclear reactors. They're often referred to as Generation 4 reactors. You hear about small modular reactors, fast breeding reactors, and they have been developed since the very beginning of the commercial use of nuclear power, like 60 years ago, and they're still under development. So there's no real chance that these reactors, even if you want them, that they will be producing power anywhere in the future. But they are really focusing on this, and they're focusing on the issue that nuclear power is actually the solution to environmental problems that we have these days.
So they are saying that nuclear power will solve climate change, but you're saying that it's not realistic and that the reactors that they're talking about haven't really been built in real life. And to give people a context, the ones that they're building here in Georgia, the first in the U.S. in 30 years, are not of the variety that they're talking about in the film.
Yes.
So what's going to happen with the action surrounding the premiere, which I know is going to be on Friday?
Yes, so unfortunately we don't know the exact time yet when the movie will be screened. Maybe we'll get this information during this interview, or otherwise you will find it on the websites. The film is shown in the Midtown Art Cinema. Mm-hmm. The address is 931 Monroe Drive. And so the first showing will be on Friday, and will probably be shown the whole week. So we will definitely be there on Friday, and then try to be present at the other times as well. So we're planning to produce. Well, we have a flyer with some more information than the film actually gives, and we want to hand that out to people who are interested and who want to get to know the whole picture. And some of us will also watch the movie, which hasn't been shown in Atlanta before. So we also want to just get this information and be present and just to show, give some additional information.
If you're just tuning in to WRFG 89.3 FM, I'm Courtney Hansen, and I'm interviewing Elke Brandis, who is with the Stop Plant Vogtle Coalition, and they are planning an action this Friday to help give out information and be present at the premiere of a new documentary called Pandora's Promise, which outlines what they say is reasons nuclear power can solve climate change, and stop plant Vogtle argues otherwise and is going to be outside the premiere and flyering this week. Elke, I haven't seen the film either. As you said, it hasn't been shown in Atlanta yet, but one thing that I saw in the trailer and some of the promotional materials is that it claims that sort of folks that used to be anti-nuclear environmentalists have changed their stance, and now they've switched to a pro-nuclear view and think that it's really going to be nuclear that solves climate change, but they still call themselves environmentalists. As an active environmentalist who has been working on these issues for several years in different countries, what is your reaction to that sentiment?
Yeah, well, I haven't experienced any leaders in the environmental movement, neither in Germany and France, where I worked before, nor here in the U.S., who actually changed their view. And you can see from all large environmental organizations that they are still against nuclear power, and nobody will, promote nuclear power as a solution. So, well, I personally think that this claim is a false. I mean, it actually evokes a false hope for people who care about the environment, and it actually helps only the energy corporations, but not the problem of climate change that we're facing. There's also the issue about environmental justice, which I came across really strongly here in the U.S. Well, these power plants, they have to be built somewhere, and usually they are being built in places that are rural, with poor communities, communities of color, communities where people are searching for jobs, and they get these false promises to, get jobs and get a better infrastructure, and they're being actually bought by the nuclear industry. So, and then, I mean, the positive thing that we have is we have a solution to climate change. We have the technology of energy efficiency, of energy saving. We have technology of renewable energy, so mainly solar and wind energy. And I see where I come from in Germany that it is actually possible. So we have the technology already. It is not dangerous. It's much more on a smaller scale, so it's much more democratic. And yeah, I mean, we have the example that it's working. And in Germany, most of the renewable energy, which is more than 20% of the whole electricity right now, comes from small distributed plants. So we have the technology compared to this new reactors technology, which is not there, and it's much safer, it's fair, and well, this sounds more like a suitable and sustainable solution.
Thank you. If you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Elke Brandis, a local anti-nuclear activist who has worked on the issue for several years, first in Germany and France, and now here in the United States, working on the Stop Plant Vogtle campaign, which will be hosting an action this Friday outside of the Midtown Art Cinema to hand out information and protest a film, Pandora's Promise, which falsely claims, they say, that nuclear power can address climate change. Elke, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how the anti-nuclear movement here in Atlanta is different from that in the other places you've worked on the issue, Germany and France, and what challenges are unique here in the United States.
Well, that's a big question.
It is a big question.
Well, one thing that I notice is that it is not so. Well, the issue of nuclear power and the problems about nuclear power are not. People don't speak about it a lot compared to Germany. It's probably because, well, actually in Germany, to be against nuclear power is mainstream. And that's a good thing and a bad thing as well. But well, when I talk about Germany here, I often hear from people that, oh, you've come such a long way in Germany, and everything is fine, and you have the phase out, and that is true. I mean, I'm kind of in Germany. We're still fighting against nuclear power because we still have it, but we're probably fighting on a different level. Mm-hmm. So what is important in the grassroots movement where I am and have been active in Germany is that we have to explain people that we're not at the solution. We haven't finished the fight in Germany because we have still reactors running, and there's still a lot of research being done also on these generation 4 reactors that the film talks about. So there's a lot of money going there that could be going into other research like renewable and efficiency. And we have the issue like the same problems with the storage of the waste. We don't have a solution for that, and there's no solution in any other country. So I mean, there are, of course, there are a lot of parallels. So, I think a really big issue is that if you have an info table somewhere in Germany, usually you get a lot of people who at least say, yes, I am against that as well. They might say, what are you fighting? We have the solution now. We have a new energy law, so we don't have to fight anymore. We can tackle other problems, but they are still, that is probably a difference between countries.
Absolutely. I think the fight to continue the phase out is much different from the fight to stop the build-up or the nuclear renaissance that we have here. And certainly the popular sentiment against nuclear power probably isn't there. The last polling numbers I saw from the Pew Research Center showed that 51% of Americans are against nuclear power. And of course, this was done post-Fukushima meltdown, which I think did a lot to influence public opinion here. But yeah, that's interesting to know that it's still an uphill battle in Germany, even though y'all have made a lot of progress. But I do want to loop back to this week and Atlanta and the actions coming up, and I want to give you the opportunity to tell listeners once again what the action is going to be and how folks can get involved in the fight for clean energy and environmental justice here in Georgia.
Yeah, so the main action will be on Friday, the 14th, this Friday. We have to find out the times when the film is actually shown. So we will be there at the Art Cinema in Midtown, and we will be flyering, we will be talking to people who are interested in a different view. We will have some signs and make ourselves noticed by the public. And whoever wants to join can also come to a meeting tomorrow. We will have a preparation meeting. We will paint signs and talk about the things that we're planning for Friday. And it will be at 6:30 at the WAND office.
And the address for that is 250 Georgia Avenue, Suite 202.
And that's also a possibility to learn more about the Stop Plan Vogtle coalition, what we're doing, all our other projects. So it's a good opportunity to get more information.
Thank you, Elke. And I do want to say listeners can also visit georgiawand.org for more information about Pandora's Promise. Elke Brandis from the Stop Plant Vogtle Coalition, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time and the information that you shared with us. Do you have any final, very brief thoughts?
Well, something that is really important for me, especially because I'm from another country, is that we're fighting an international fight. We should not care about borders because the nuclear complex, the industry, and the governments are actually an international complex as well. So I really appreciate to be here to have the opportunity to help and to work with activists here, just as in Germany and France and all other places.
Thanks, Elke. You are listening to WRFG Atlanta 89.3 FM, and this concludes our Monday edition of the Progressive News Hour Radio Free Activists.